You're now with me, Radzi Ahmad, for TVS Nightline. Here are the headlines for tonight. Hamas leader says it is close to reaching truce deal with Israel. Meanwhile, back home, Sarawak Premier ABANG JOHARI is set to receive prestigious ASEAN Engineering Award. And Michael MUJAH LIHAN is elected as new senator for Sarawak. Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh said on Tuesday that the Palestinian group was nearing a truce agreement with Israel. In a statement released in response to Qatari mediators in the ongoing talks, intense negotiations mediated by Qatar have been underway for weeks since the October 7th attack erupted.
Qatar's Prime Minister said Sunday that a deal to free some of the hostages in return for a temporary ceasefire hinged on minor practical issues. Anonymous sources from Hamas said that their movement had agreed to the terms of a truce. Under the tentative deal, about 300 Palestinians would be released from Israeli jails, which include women and children. In exchange, between 50 and 100 Israeli civilians and foreign hostages would be released, but no military personnel. Similarly, the deal would also allow for up to 300 trucks of food and medical aid to enter Gaza. Meanwhile, earlier on Monday, Qatar's foreign minister called for the formation of an international committee to look into the crimes committed by Israeli occupation against civilians in the Gaza Strip. The country's stance was made in a statement condemning the Israeli bombing of the Indonesian hospital in northern Gaza, which left several Palestinians dead and injured. The Foreign Ministry considered the bombing of the Indonesian hospital an extension of the Israeli occupation approach in targeting hospitals, schools, and population centers across Gaza, which is a blatant violation of the international law and the Geneva Convention. It also urged the international community to take urgent action to deter Israel from committing further massacres and provide necessary protection for over 2,000 displaced people seeking refuge in the hospital. The Israeli airstrike on the hospital killed 12 Palestinians and injured dozens others. The ministry accused the Israeli army of seeking to turn the hospital into a mass grave. It added that the hospital was the only one partially functioning in Gaza City and the northern Gaza region, as all other hospitals in Gaza City has become non-operational, including Al-Shifa Hospital, which is currently under Israeli military control.
In other news, Premier Sarawak Dato' Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Jori Tun Openg is slated to be bestowed with the esteemed title of Honorary Fellow during the forthcoming 41st ASEAN Federation of Engineering Organizations Conference, or CAFEO 41. Abang Johari and his entourage safely arrived in Bali earlier this evening to attend the opening ceremony of the conference, which will be held at the Bali Nusa Dua Convention Center tomorrow. Now, for more details on the event, let's cross over to our reporter Shira Abang Mansur in Bali, Indonesia. Over to you, Shira.
All right, thank you, studio. Assalamualaikum. Hello there. Salam from Bali, Indonesia. So we are now at Nusa Dua Beach Hotel and Spa, Bali, Indonesia, after having attended the soiree or evening gathering hosted by our Sarawak's engineer for our Premier Dato' Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Jori Tun Openg and his delegation who have just arrived from Kuching earlier this evening. So the soiree tonight was just a casual one where we're donning white and jeans, and where everybody enjoyed the dinner and a performance by Indonesia's local acoustic band. And after that, we were briefed on tomorrow's itinerary by the chairman of Institution of Engineers Malaysia, IEM, Sarawak's branch, because the real deal is tomorrow, actually, which is the 41st conference of the ASEAN Federation of Engineering Organizations, or CAFEO 41, where our Sarawak Premier, Dato' Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Jori Tun Openg, will be bestowed with the esteemed title of Honorary Fellow. So this conferment, ladies and gentlemen, is reserved to individuals of acknowledged eminence who had rendered outstanding services to the engineering profession, the institution and the nation. And this award will bear the post-nominal distinguished honorary. So a little bit about CAFIO is that this conference serves as a platform for networking among engineering organizations in Southeast Asia, whereby there will be technical sessions, keynote speeches, workshops, exhibitions and networking opportunities with focus on addressing engineering challenges, fostering collaboration and promoting best practices in the ASEAN engineering community. So the 10 ASEAN countries will be taking turn to host this prestigious annual conference. And this year marks Indonesia's turn in the rotation, bringing the theme of igniting ASEAN's blue economy and green energy. So I guess that will be all that I can share with you. More will be shared tomorrow. So be sure to always tune in to tvstv.my. I'm Shira Abang Mansor with Fikri Razak for TVS Salam from Bali. Back to studio.
Thank you, Shira Abang Mansor, for the report from Bali. Now, a new senator has been elected to represent Sarawak in the Dewan Negara. Michael MUJAH LIHAN, the chief of Parti Pesaka Bumiputra Bersatu PBB Murum branch, is set to take on the role once current Senator Dr. Nuing Jiliong's term concludes on December 11th. MUJAH's appointment came following unanimous support from the State Legislative Assembly after a motion tabled by Deputy Premier Dato' Amar Douglas Uga Ambas and seconded by another Deputy Premier Dato' Amar Awang Tengah Ali Hassan. Now, in support of the motion, Uga highlighted MUJAH's extensive background in administration and politics, notably serving as the political secretary to the Premier since 2016. Expressing his gratitude, MUJAH pledged to relinquish his current post immediately following his appointment as senator, vowing to serve earnestly in his capacity. Michael MUJAH is expected to be sworn in as senator for a 3-year term in the Dewan Negara next month. The unanimous approval of the Gas Distribution Law Amendment 2023 on Tuesday by the Sarawak Legislative Assembly will further strengthen the role of Sarawak Energy Berhad, or SEB, as the sole electricity buyer. Now, Minister of Utilities and Telecommunications Sarawak, Datuk Sri Julaihi Narawi, stated that the amendment will enable SEB to purchase power generated by other producers and distribute it through the transmission grid and distribution network to supply electricity to customers.
Prospective solar power producers may enter into agreement to sell power to Sarawak Energy Berhad, or SEB, as a single buyer, or to sell power to another consumer where single buyer does not require the solar power.
A total of 14 members of Sarawak State Legislative Assembly joined the discussion of the said legislation bill. Earlier, Julaihi announced that the Sarawak government is confident that the SEB can fulfill its statutory obligations through the proposed amendments. Furthermore, SEB has a grid transmission system and is the state grid code operator. Under the provision of Section 4, Subsection 5 of the existing Electricity Ordinance, no license is required for any installation not exceeding a capacity of 5 kilowatts. He clarified that this bill will increase the limit from 5 kilowatts to 50 kilowatts to facilitate and promote renewable energy sources, especially solar and hydro, for electricity generation.
It is the right and sensible move for Petroleum Sarawak Berhad, or Petros, to have full control over oil and gas affairs in Sarawak. Tilian State Assemblyman Royston Valentine opines that granting full authority to Petros plays a significant role in managing the state's oil and gas reserves while promoting and facilitating the development of the energy sector in the region.
Petros Sarawak berfungsi sebagai penjaga sumber minyak dan gas Sarawak, berusaha ke arah pembangunan mampan sektor tenaga dan mengoptimumkan manfaat untuk negeri dan rakyatnya. Oleh itu, kenapa tidak untuk kita berikan kuasa sepenuhnya kepada Petros dalam mengendalikan 100% urusan berkaitan minyak dan gas di Sarawak. Bukan kita mencuri hak orang lain, bukan kita tidak mampu menguruskan hasil bumi sendiri. Biarlah kita sendiri yang membuat keputusan ke atas hak kita.
Royston added that one of the Petros' main objectives is to maximize Sarawak's involvement in the oil and gas industry and ensure equitable distribution of benefits. The company, he said, is also focusing on attracting investments, creating job opportunities, and promoting local capacity development in the energy sector.
Petros Sarawak bekerjasama rapat dengan Kerajaan Negeri Sarawak dan pihak berkepentingan lain yang berkaitan untuk mengubal dan melaksanakan dasar-dasar yang sejajar dengan rancangan pembangunan ekonomi negeri. Melalui kerjasama strategik dengan pemain industri, Petros menyasarkan untuk mengukuhkan kedudukan Sarawak sebagai pemain utama dalam industri minyak dan gas di Malaysia dan rantau ini.
For the record, the Distribution of Gas Amendment Bill 2023 has been approved, appointing a gas aggregator to ensure gas availability for industries and consumers. It also aims to strengthen, improve, and expand the existing gas distribution network and system.
The Sarawak government, under the leadership of the Gabungan Party Sarawak GPS, can be described as a future-forward government due to its far-sighted vision and capability to estimate high-value resources in the long term. Minister of Utilities and Telecommunications, Dato' Julaihi Narawi, stated that the amendments to Sarawak's laws will generate new revenue sources for Sarawak in the future.
Julaihi further added that this is important to achieve the high-income aspiration by 2030, in line with the Post-COVID-19 Development Strategy PCDS 2030.
Kesemua pindaan ini dalam jangka panjang akan membolehkan Sarawak memperluaskan downstream activities lah, dan sekaligus boleh membawa penjanaan sumber pendapatan yang baru untuk Sarawak di masa yang akan datang. That's why I was saying Sarawak GPS government is very futuristic. Jangan kita short-sighted. Short-sighted melihat di depan kita saja, kita tidak melihat ke masa hadapan. So we should be forward-looking, especially kalau kita ada PCDS 2030. Our target by the year 2030, we should have high income. High income for Sarawak, high income for anak Sarawak. This is our target. We should be looking into various sources of resources yang ada at our disposal.
He said this during a media session on the approval of the Gas Distribution Amendment Law 2023. The State Legislative Assembly approved the Gas Distribution Amendment Law 2023 on Tuesday to ensure adequate gas supply to meet the domestic and industrial needs of the state.
And to top it all off, here's a recap of today's proceedings in the Sarawak Legislative Assembly.
The Sarawak government is confident that it will emerge as a premier hydrogen hub in the ASEAN region for several reasons. Deputy Minister of Energy and Environment Sarawak, Dato' Dr. Hazlan Hipni, points out that among the factors driving foreign direct investments to the state is its political stability as well as business-friendly investment policies.
The factors driving our FDI in Sarawak are its stable government, business-friendly investment policies, efficient government machinery, availability of natural and renewable resources, young talented workforce, and the availability of land for development purposes.
Petroleum Sarawak Berhad Petros should be given full authority in handling all matters related to oil and gas in Sarawak. Talian Assemblyman Royston Valentine opined that Petros plays a significant role in managing the state's oil and gas reserves, as well as promoting and facilitating the development of the energy sector in the region.
Secara keseluruhannya, Petros Sarawak berfungsi sebagai penjaga sumber minyak dan gas Sarawak, berusaha ke arah pembangunan mampan sektor tenaga dan mengoptimumkan manfaat untuk negeri dan rakyatnya. Oleh itu, kenapa tidak untuk kita berikan kuasa sepenuhnya kepada Petros? Bukan kita mencuri hak orang lain, bukan kita tidak mampu menguruskan hasil bumi sendiri. Biarlah kita sendiri yang membuat keputusan ke atas hak kita.
The Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture MTCP Sarawak announces that communities in all state legislative assembly constituencies can propose locations of interest in their respective areas to be promoted as tourism destinations. Its Deputy Minister Dato' Sebastian Teng stated
The Ministry of Tourism, Creative Industry and Performing Arts Sarawak also envisions the cottage industry of the traditional rice wine tuak to grow exponentially within the next 10 years, catering not only to the local market but also regional and international markets. Its Deputy Minister, Dato' Sebastian Ting, said that the inaugural Borneo Tuak Festival will serve not only as a way to preserve the culture of tuak making, but also to promote it internationally, placing it on the same level as Japanese sake and South Korea's makgeolli.
Noting that tuak holds a significant identity in Sarawak culture, Ting said tuak embodies the Dayak identity and it is an inherited knowledge that connects the past and present generations.
What will be 10 years from now will be to our tuak here, yeah, because one is culture. We'll make sure that the culture remains, but then the next step will be whether or not we can commercialize this tuak making into a business, yeah, selling West Malaysia, Singapore, neighboring countries, and then even to the whole world, yeah.
The event is expected to gather over 20 tuak makers and entrepreneurs and showcase the skills involved in tuak making.
We have already 40 vendors, so we have people coming in to speak on the making of tuak and other things. So because of this sharing, this will definitely be good for our own people.
Taking place this weekend from November 24th to 26th, the Borneo Tuak Festival will be held at the Hills Shopping Mall.
Coming up right after the break, 80 million ringgit to expedite digital national ID program, and in the India tunnel collapse, visuals of trapped workers released. Only on TVS Nightline. Stay tuned. Back on TVS Nightline, the government has appointed the National Research and Development Centre, MIMOS Berhad, as the implementing agency for the National Digital Identity Program, or Digital ID, with an initial allocation of 80 million ringgit. Prime Minister Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim said he had been assured that the project will be implemented in 3 months' time.
Dengan syarat kerajaan meluluskan untukkan diserverkan dari sadar tetap supaya Menteri Kewangan dan KDN yang menyalurkan 80 juta ringgit Google Fund.
He said this during an official visit to MIMOS Berhad and Taman Technology Malaysia Bukit Jalil on Tuesday. Anwar said the allocation is in line with the government's aim to empower the digital transformation while developing digital initiatives, specifically those involving governmental affairs. The digital national ID registration is the first step in implementing targeted subsidies, as well as many other facilities by government and private agencies. The digital national ID serves as a platform that will benefit the civil and private sectors to verify users' identities during digital transactions. The system will not be replacing the use and function of the My Card, but rather it would serve to provide extra security.
Malaysia's firm stance on the oppression of Palestinians by Israel's Zionist regime has been well received by the member states of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, or OIC, during the recent emergency summit. Prime Minister Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim stated that Malaysia has emphasized 6 points, including calling for an immediate ceasefire and expediting humanitarian assistance to Gazans.
Dan kita jalankan tanggungjawab kita untuk menyampaikan pandangan kita secara tegas. Kerana apa yang berlaku itu berlarutan. Benar, Malaysia punya kenyataan pendidikan yang agak lebih tegas dan Menteri Luar sebelumnya telah membuat kenyataan. Kita tidak mahu sidang ini hanya mengemukakan usul atau desakan, tetapi mesti ada tindakan yang lebih berkesan.
In addition, Anwar mentioned a proposal raised by leaders of European nations for Arab countries such as Egypt, Jordan, and neighboring countries to provide refuge for Palestinians. However, not all Islamic countries agreed with the proposal.
Yang dilakukan oleh Emirat Arab Bersatu adalah mengambil yang sakit parah, terutama bayi dan anak-anak kecil, untuk rawatan di Abu Dhabi atau di Dubai.
Anwar said the main achievement of the summit was the acceptance of a resolution titled Joint Arab-Islamic Extraordinary Summit on Israeli Aggression Against the Palestinian People.
Prime Minister Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim will hold a meeting with the Mufti of the Federal Territories regarding the Coldplay concert in Kuala Lumpur scheduled for tomorrow. This follows calls from several parties who wish for the concert to be cancelled out of respect for the situation in Gaza.
Saya akan bincang dengan Mufti apakah keadaan ini, kerana ada pelobi-pelobi dari gerakan Palestin yang menyokong dan memberikan pandangan kepada Menteri Luar dan juga kepada pejabat saya, menyatakan mengapa dihalang kumpulan yang menyokong perjuangan Palestin daripada meneruskan pertunjukan.
Anwar said this while answering additional questions from Machang Member of Parliament Wan Ahmad Faisal in the Parliament on Tuesday. The Prime Minister stated that the band from the United Kingdom is among the groups that support Palestine. British band Coldplay is scheduled to perform at the National Stadium in Bukit Jalil tomorrow as part of its Music of the Spheres World Tour.
The government is always committed to protecting the people's interests and has initiated financial measures to encourage home ownership nationwide. Deputy Minister of Local Government Development Akmal Nasrullah stated that the government, through the 2024 budget, has proposed to add an additional 10 billion ringgit in guarantee amount to benefit 40,000 borrowers.
Akmal stated that through the iBiaya initiative under the Housing Credit Guarantee Scheme, the government provides guarantees for financing up to 500,000 ringgit.
Ini termasuk jumlah pembiayaan pokok, jaminan tempoh pengurangan gadai janji ataupun MRTA atau takaful gadai janji MRTT, yuran guaman dan yuran penilaian. Pembiayaan ini menyasarkan golongan yang tidak memiliki slip gaji, contohnya pekerja gig, usahawan kecil, petani atau nelayan, pekerja bebas iaitu freelance dan adalah terhad kepada rumah pertama. Walau bagaimanapun pembiayaan ini tidak terhad untuk kediaman baharu sahaja, tetapi termasuk juga rumah sedia ada atau rumah lelongan.
Akmal stated this while responding to a question from Hulu Langat Member of Parliament Muhammad Sani Hamzan during the session of the House of Representatives in Parliament on Monday. In addition, Akmal mentioned that the Malaysian Home Ownership Initiative iMiliki is also implemented to provide exemptions or stamp duty relief on transfer documents and loan agreements for homes up to 1 million ringgit for first-time home buyers for sale and purchase agreements finalized from June 1st, 2022 to December 31st, 2023.
In world news, 41 Indian workers trapped in a collapsed road tunnel for 10 days were seen alive on camera for the first time on Tuesday, as workers scrambled to create new passageways to free them. Looking exhausted and anxious, the workers could be seen peering at the camera sent by rescuers down a pipe, through which air, food, and water are also being sent.
Excavators have been removing tons of earth, concrete, and rubble from the under-construction tunnel in the northern Himalayan state of Uttarakhand since November 12th, after a portion of the tunnel collapsed. But rescue efforts have been slow, complicated by falling debris as well as repeated breakdowns of crucial heavy drilling machines. India Prime Minister Narendra Modi said it was top priority to get the workers out. Foreign experts have been drafted in, including Australian independent disaster investigator and president of the International Tunneling and Underground Space Association, Arnold Dix. Before the camera was introduced, rescuers have been communicating with the men inside using radios. On Monday, the tube used to deliver supplies to the men was successfully widened with the installation of a 15-centimeter pipe, through which the camera was sent down. Hot meals were also delivered through the new pipe for the first time. Engineers have been trying to horizontally drive a steel pipe just wide enough for the workers through at least 57 meters of earth and rock that blocked their escape. But the giant earth boring machine they were using ran into boulders it could not get through, and it was paused on Friday after a cracking sound created a panic situation. Rescue teams are now preparing 2 new approaches to reach the men, either by drilling a vertical shaft down from the forested hill above, a potentially complex dig in an area that has already suffered a collapse, or to approach from the far side of the road tunnel, a far longer route of more than 450 meters. Experts have warned about the impact of extensive construction in Uttarakhand, where large parts of the state are prone to landslides. The planned 4.5-kilometer tunnel is part of Modi's infrastructure plans aimed at cutting travel times between some of the most popular Hindu sites in the country, as well as improving access to strategic areas bordering rival China.
Meanwhile, a company in Sichuan, China is recycling the leftover spicy, oily broth of hot pot and giving it a second life as jet fuel. With around 150,000 tons of used hot pot oil thrown out by restaurants in the city each year, one local business has found a niche, processing the greasy waste and exporting it to be turned into sustainable aviation fuel, or SAF.
Sichuan Jinshan Environmental Protection, which launched in 2017, is now producing up to 150,000 tons of industrial-grade oil annually from a combination of hot pot restaurants and other eateries across Chengdu.
正因为我爱吃火锅，所以我们企业有一个口号，有个愿景，是让地沟油飞上天。
Jinshan business model is part of a wider efforts in China to tackle the mountains of food waste generated by its population of 1.4 billion. On a typical night, collectors hired by Jinshan visits hundreds of these restaurants around the southwestern metropolis.
都市呢，以那个川菜为主，所以我们的火锅是世界闻名。那么我们每天的废油的量，大概会在300到400吨以上。 当然这是我们公司收集到的，以成都市的这个数量来看，还会更高一点，每年的数量大概在15万到18万吨左右。
The process begins right after the customers leave, with waiters emptying the hot pot broth into a special filter that separates oil from water. Donning thick aprons and elbow-length rubber gloves, collectors then arrive to pick up containers of the grease. That sludge is then ferried to a business park on the city's outskirts where Jinshan's mostly spotless plant is based. The oil is piped into massive vats and undergoes a refining process that removes remaining water and impurities, resulting in a clear, yellow-tinged industrial-grade oil. That is exported to clients based mainly in Europe, the United States, and Singapore, who further process it to make a sustainable aviation fuel. Jinshan has plans to expand into its own SAF producing facility soon, using equipment from the US to produce 300,000 tons annually.
And that's it for TVS Nightline. I am Razi Ahmad. Thank you for watching.